Our biggest star in the league, Caitlin Clark, is only making a base salary of around $76,000 or $78,000.
Swats at the basketball and somehow decides to turn her hand down and her fingernails and jab them right into the eye of Caitlin Clark.
Imagine being the hottest thing in basketball, bringing in record TV ratings and selling merch like crazy. Now imagine your boss is treating you like you're just another player. That's what happened to Caitlin Clark in the WNBA. She was carrying the entire league on her back, but they wouldn't even give her a decent contract. Now she's taking her talents to Europe.
With the WNBA season ending for many teams, there are already so many players heading overseas to play during the off-season.
And the WNBA is left wondering what went wrong. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great. Thank you so much. Now, back to the video. You heard that right. Caitlin Clark, the WNBA's brightest star, just signed a lifetime contract in Europe. It's wild. This girl was dominating the court, putting up insane numbers and making fans go crazy. TV ratings jumped 46% when she played. That's huge. But here's the kicker. The WNBA barely blinked. They offered her a rookie salary that wouldn't even cover her sneaker collection. No big marketing push, no special treatment. They thought they could treat Clark like any other player. Big mistake, huge. You know what's crazier than Clark's skills? What happens next in this story? The WNBA is about to learn a hard lesson about undervaluing greatness. The WNBA is about to learn a hard lesson about undervaluing greatness, alright? But here's the real shocker. The league's idea of a fair salary for their biggest star. You think $76,000 sounds like a lot? Wait until you hear how that stacks up against Clark's impact on the game. Let's break it down. Caitlin Clark, the girl who's been lighting up the court and sending TV ratings through the roof, was offered a rookie contract of $76,000 for her first year.
Our biggest star in the league, Caitlin Clark, is only making a base salary of around $76,000 or $78,000.
That's right, just $76,000 for the player who single-handedly boosted WNBA viewership by 46%. Over 4 years, that contract would total just over $300,000.
And she signed a 4-year, just over $300,000 rookie salary. So Caitlin's rookie salary is a little over $300,000 for 4 years.
Now, I don't know about you, but that doesn't seem to add up. And think about it. Clark's bringing in millions of new viewers, selling out arenas, and making people care about women's basketball like never before. And the WNBA's response? Here's a salary that wouldn't even cover a year's worth of courtside snacks at NBA games. It's like they're living in a different universe. But wait, it gets even crazier. The WNBA tried to justify this by saying they wanted to maintain balance among players. Balance? When you've got a once-in-a-generation talent, you don't worry about balance.
There was a huge boom this season. There was a huge boom in merchandise and television viewership and sold out arenas and all of these things.
You worry about keeping that talent happy and in your league. It's like they completely missed the memo on what Clark means to the WNBA. She's not just another rookie, she's a phenomenon. The kind of player who comes along once in a blue moon and changes the entire landscape of the sport. And instead of rolling out the red carpet, they're basically telling her, hey, thanks for being awesome, here's a tip jar. You know what's wild? The WNBA actually thought this was okay. They genuinely believed they could treat Clark like any other player and she'd just go along with it. Talk about a reality check. It's like they forgot that in today's world, star players have options. And when you don't value them, they'll find someone who will. This isn't just about money though. It's about respect. It's about recognizing someone's worth and showing them they're valued. By lowballing Clark so hard, the WNBA basically told her she wasn't special. That her incredible skills, her marketability, her ability to draw in fans, none of that mattered. And you know what happens when you make someone feel undervalued? They start looking for the exit. That's exactly what Clark did. She looked at that contract, looked at the WNBA's attitude and said, nah, I'm good. Can you blame her? The craziest part is that the WNBA had to see this coming. How could they not? They had front row seats to the Caitlin Clark show. They saw the packed arenas, the skyrocketing ratings, the buzz she was creating, and still they decided to play it safe. Well, safe just cost them their biggest star. Hold up though. The salary drama, that's just the tip of the iceberg. When Clark stepped onto the court, things went from bad to worse. Picture this, the league's brightest star getting roughed up game after game, and the refs, they're acting like they left their whistles at home. You think Clark was just frustrated with her paycheck? Nah, that's only half the story. On the court, she was facing a whole different kind of battle. One that made her wonder if she was playing basketball or entering a boxing ring. Here's the deal, Clark was out there getting knocked around like a pinball, and the refs were just standing there watching. It's like they forgot what a foul was whenever someone came at Clark. She even said it herself. I feel like I'm getting hammered, and everybody is physical with me. Opponents get away with things that other people don't get away with.
Officiating recently tell reporters, quote, I feel like I'm getting hammered and everybody is physical with me. And opponents get away with things that other people don't get away with.
Your biggest star, your meal ticket, the reason why you have relevancy, just got stabbed and assaulted and nothing.
Can you imagine? You're out there trying to play your game, show off your skills, and every other player is treating you like a punching bag. And the refs, they're acting like they're watching a different game. But wait, it gets worse. During the playoffs, things went from ridiculous to downright dangerous. Clark took a hit to the eye from Joni Carrington.
Upset about. It's like, hey man, your meal ticket is under constant attack. There's been dirty plays all season. Swats at the basketball and somehow decides to turn her hand down and her fingernails and jab them right into the eye of Caitlin Clark.
We're talking a serious blow here, the kind that makes you see stars. And guess what? No foul called. Nothing. Nada. It's like the refs were too busy checking their phones to notice.
Is on the wrong team. She's got the wrong skill set to handle the physicality of that league. And she's a rookie.
This wasn't just a one-time thing either. Game after game, Clark was getting hammered. And it wasn't just her saying it. Fans were going crazy, wondering what the heck was going on. Some people even started thinking the refs had it out for Clark, like they were trying to keep her from outshining the veteran players. Think about it. You're the new kid on the block, bringing in record crowds, making the game exciting again. And instead of protecting you, the league's letting you get beat up on national TV? How's that for a welcome party? It wasn't just the big hits, either. The little stuff was adding up too. In one game against the Sparks, Clark got hit with 2 flagrant fouls. 2 in one game. It's like the refs were playing some twisted game of, how can we mess with Clark today?
Foul call. No refs stopping the game to go look. Is this a flagrant? None of that. Just everybody moved on.
Now, put yourself in Clark's shoes for a second. You're barely making enough to cover your bills. You're bringing in millions of new fans, and every time you step on the court, you're treated like a human punching bag. Oh, and when you try to speak up about it, people act like you're just being a crybaby. It's no wonder Clark started looking for other options. When you're getting disrespected both on and off the court, something's gotta give. The WNBA had a golden goose, and instead of taking care of her, they let everyone take shots at her. Literally and figuratively. This whole mess shows it wasn't just about the money for Clark, it was about respect. It was about feeling valued and protected. The WNBA dropped the ball big time, and now they're paying the price. So Clark bounced from the WNBA. Big deal, right? Wrong. Her move to Europe isn't just about one player leaving. It's a seismic shift that could reshape the entire landscape of women's basketball. Think about it. What happens when the biggest star decides the grass is greener on the other side of the Atlantic? Let's talk about this lifetime contract Clark just signed in Europe. It's not your average basketball deal. We're talking long-term security, serious cash, and a level of respect that the WNBA couldn't seem to muster. In Europe, they're not just offering Clark a job, they're investing in her entire career. You know what's wild? This move isn't just about Clark's bank account. It's about sending a message. A message that says, hey, if you don't value me, I'll find someone who will. And let me tell you, that message is coming through loud and clear. Now, imagine you're another WNBA star watching all this go down. You're seeing Clark get this incredible deal, this lifetime commitment. You're thinking, wait a minute, could I get that too? Suddenly, Europe's looking pretty good, right? It's like Clark just opened the floodgates, and now every top player in the WNBA is eyeing that European exit. But here's where it gets really interesting. This isn't just about players leaving. It's about the WNBA's whole future. Think about it. If they can't keep their biggest stars happy, what does that mean for the league? We're talking about a potential talent drain that could leave the WNBA struggling to stay relevant. It's like the WNBA just got hit with a wake-up call, but they were too busy hitting the snooze button. They had the hottest thing in basketball, and they let her slip away. Now they're left scrambling, trying to figure out how to keep their other stars from following Clark's leads. You want to know what's really crazy? This whole situation could have been avoided if the WNBA had just shown Clark some love, given her the contract and the respect she deserved. We might not be having this conversation. Instead, they played it safe, and now they're paying the price. But let's zoom out for a second. This isn't just about the WNBA. It's about the whole landscape of women's basketball. Clark's move is shaking things up on both sides of the Atlantic. In Europe, they're probably feeling pretty smug right now. They just snagged the biggest name in the game. Meanwhile, in the US, it's panic stations. The WNBA has been the top dog in women's basketball for years, but now they're looking vulnerable. If they can't keep hold of players like Clark, what does that say about the league? It's like they're stuck in the past while Europe's racing towards the future. And you know what's even crazier? This could be just the beginning. If more stars start following Clark's lead, we could see a major power shift in women's basketball. The WNBA might find itself playing second fiddle to European leagues. Can you imagine that? Let's talk about the real cost of undervaluing greatness. The WNBA just lost their biggest star, and they've got no one to blame but themselves. Clark was their golden ticket, bringing in fans and making the game exciting again. But instead of treating her like the superstar she is, they lowballed her and let her get roughed up on the court. Now Clark's in Europe, and the WNBA's left wondering what went wrong. But here's the thing, it's not just about Clark. This whole mess shows how women's sports are still fighting for respect and fair pay. If the best player in the game can't get a decent deal, what hope is there for everyone else? You know what's really crazy? The WNBA might have just shot themselves in the foot. If they can't keep a player like Clark happy, what does that say about the future of women's basketball in America? It's like they're stuck in the past while Europe's racing towards the future.